In the heart of history lies a tale often untold, a narrative woven with threads of pain, perseverance, and profound strength. This is the story of a people who, despite centuries of oppression, have risen time and again, their spirit unbroken, their resolve unwavering. From the harrowing voyages across the Atlantic to the brutal realities of slavery, the Black community has endured unimaginable hardships. Families torn apart, culture suppressed, identity stripped away, all in the name of power and profit. Yet, amidst the darkness, a light persisted. Songs of sorrow became hymns of hope. Stories passed down through generations kept the flame of heritage alive. The abolition of slavery was not the end, but a new beginning fraught with its own challenges. The Reconstruction era promised progress but delivered disappointment. Jim Crow laws sought to relegate Black individuals to second-class citizenship, enforcing segregation and systemic discrimination. Still, the community pressed on, building schools, establishing businesses, and cultivating neighborhoods rich in culture and camaraderie. The civil rights movement marked a pivotal chapter. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and Malcolm X became symbols of resistance and catalysts for change. Their courage inspired masses to march, protest, and demand the rights long denied to them. The struggle was met with violence and vitriol, but the message was clear. Equality was not a request, it was a right. As the decades progressed, new battles emerged. The war on drugs, mass incarceration, and economic disparities continued to plague the community. Yet, innovation and excellence flourished. From the arts to sciences, Black individuals broke barriers, proving time and again that their contributions were invaluable to the fabric of society. Today, the fight continues. Movements like Black Lives Matter echo the cries of ancestors, demanding justice and accountability. The journey is far from over, but the path is illuminated by the resilience of those who came before. In the backdrop of modern skylines and digital revolutions, the echoes of injustice still reverberate through every corner of Black life in America. The days of shackles may be gone, but their legacy is etched into policies, neighborhoods, education systems, and courtrooms. In every city, every state, there lies a quiet war, fought not with guns or blades, but with biases, barriers, and blindfolded justice. For many Black children, their first encounter with systemic inequality begins at school. Underfunded districts, outdated textbooks, teachers who see trouble before talent, a school-to-prison pipeline designed with precision, where suspensions are more common than scholarships. How can one thrive in an environment that sees them as a statistic before they even speak? And then there is the badge, the symbol of protection for some, a trigger of trauma for others. The names are etched in pain: Tamir Rice, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. So many lives reduced to hashtags, their final moments broadcast to the world, frozen in time but seared into memory. Each story sparking protests, vigils, outrage, but still, the cycle repeats. A knee on the neck became the symbol of centuries of suffocation, and the world watched as another soul was stolen. But this pain, it does not silence. It fuels. It mobilizes. It educates. It awakens. Black excellence, in the face of it all, still radiates. In music, in film, in literature, the stories are told. Not with bitterness, but with brilliance. Kendrick raps truth into every bar. Ava DuVernay lenses the struggle with grace. Ta-Nehisi Coates pens paragraphs soaked in power. Each one, a vessel of the voice that refuses to be erased. The economic battlefield is no less brutal. Generational wealth denied. Loans rejected. Paychecks reduced. Promotions withheld. And yet, Black entrepreneurs build. They rise. They create lanes where none existed. From barbershops to tech startups, from beauty brands to bookstores, the Black dollar circulates with pride and power. But even within our own, division sometimes creeps in. Colorism, classism, the residue of colonial design still clinging to self-worth. But the new generation, loud, conscious, relentless, they are tearing it down. They know that unity isn't a slogan. It's a strategy, a necessity. This modern world may wear a suit and smile, but beneath its polished exterior lies the same systems our ancestors bled under. The fight just wears different clothes now. It legislates. It rebrands. It hides behind statistics and policies. But truth has a way of revealing itself. Always. And so the march continues. Not just with feet in the streets, but with minds in boardrooms, voices on platforms, hands casting votes, and hearts refusing to forget. In the quiet moments between the protests and the speeches, beyond the headlines and the hashtags, there exists a struggle just as potent, just as consuming. It's the everyday resistance, the constant negotiation of identity, the subtle battle of proving humanity in rooms that deny it without a word. To be Black in America is to be watched, followed in stores, questioned in classrooms, doubted in interviews, silenced in meetings. It is to laugh a little softer, speak a little clearer, stand a little straighter, because survival demands performance. Every action weighed, every word measured, every expression filtered through a lens of suspicion. It's the exhaustion of code switching, the mental labor of shrinking one's voice in professional spaces, only to exhale authenticity in the car ride home. It's carrying history on your back while pretending it doesn't hurt, smiling when you're angry, nodding when you want to scream, swallowing microaggressions because the alternative might cost your job, or worse. And yet, with all this weight, Black joy thrives. It is not an accident. It is an act of rebellion. Joy in Blackness is sacred. It is defiance. Laughter becomes healing. Culture becomes weapon. The way we dance, dress, speak, it is rhythm born of resistance. Every cookout, every church service, every beat of a drum or clap of a hand, it all echoes a truth older than borders. We were not meant to survive this, but we did. We were not expected to smile, yet we do. Family is the foundation. In grandmother's stories and uncle's advice, in cousins' teasing and mother's prayers, there lies the invisible armor. The lessons passed down through whispered warnings and stern lectures. Keep your hands where they can see them. Don't talk back. Make it home. These words are not just advice. They are shields. And still, they are not always enough. The trauma passes too. Quietly. Through generations. The fear etched in our DNA. But so does the strength. The unspoken understanding that no matter how heavy the world, we carry each other. The media tries to define us by our pain, our poverty, our crime rates. But they don't show the brilliance, the resilience, the billion-dollar contributions, the Black engineers, doctors, scholars, poets, the inventors whose ideas were stolen, the artists whose craft reshaped cultures, the athletes whose dominance rewrote history. They don't show the tears cried in solitude, the dreams deferred but never forgotten, the kids writing rhymes to escape their block, the fathers working double shifts just to keep lights on, the mothers who become both provider and protector, the elders whose very survival is a story of triumph. Being Black in this world is not a weakness. It is a miracle. Every generation is born into a struggle they didn't start, yet are expected to finish. For Black youth, that struggle often comes with a double edge. Expected to rise above circumstances created long before they were born, yet punished for every stumble along the way. The system hands them broken pieces, then blames them for the mess. But still they build. With those broken pieces, they form art, form movements, form families, form futures. They wear trauma like armor and use it to protect those coming next. They take the fire they've inherited from ancestors who never had the chance to dream, and they use it to light a path forward. They do not run from the past. They carry it, they speak it, they turn it into purpose. Look at the youth marching through cities with fists raised high, chanting names they never met but feel in their bones. They don't need permission to speak truth. They don't wait for systems to care. They make the system listen. From classrooms to courtrooms, they're rewriting the script, questioning authority, demanding transparency. And they do it with a clarity that frightens power. They are the manifestation of centuries of prayers whispered in cotton fields, of songs sung in dark cabins, of letters written from jail cells, of dreams laid out on kitchen tables. They are the proof that the legacy is not just pain, but perseverance. They take TikTok and turn it into testimony. They make fashion statements out of protest slogans. They remix resistance in real time. But the cost remains. There is a toll on the spirit, a fatigue that builds from having to justify your existence again and again, from being told racism is over while experiencing it daily, from being asked to educate others when history already did, from carrying the weight of representation when you just want to be. This is where community steps in. Not just as a word, but as a shelter, as a force, as a sanctuary. Black love is more than romance, it's survival. It's friendships that feel like family. It's neighbors who raise each other's kids. It's barbershops and salons where therapy is free and advice is abundant. It's cookouts that feel like reunions, even when no one's related. And through it all, the culture doesn't just survive, it thrives. Because you can't kill rhythm. You can't erase soul. You can't silence a people who learn to sing even while bleeding. You can try, but you will fail. Because history shows one thing: Black people don't break. We bend, we adapt, we mourn, we fight, but we don't break. Progress is never handed over. It's demanded, pulled from the clenched fists of power by people who refuse to wait. Every right the Black community holds today was paid for in blood, sweat, silence, and sacrifice. And yet, even now, the price continues. The promise of equality sits on paper, but rarely in practice. They say the Constitution protects all, but whose version of freedom is being honored when schools still teach a history that edits out truth, and when healthcare ignores the pain behind Black skin? Whose freedom is it when the zip code you're born into can determine your lifespan? When wealth is hoarded and access is denied, and the scales of justice lean so hard to one side they might as well be welded in place. Still, the future isn't a gift, it's a responsibility. And this generation is claiming it. They're speaking in courtrooms, coding apps that expose injustice, turning policy into protest, turning protest into legislation. They are not waiting for someone to save them, they are saving themselves. Brick by brick, they are tearing down systems built to exclude and replacing them with blueprints of equity. They vote not because they believe in the system, but because they believe in change. They run for office. They start foundations. They build coalitions across lines others told them to hate. They show that Black liberation is not about supremacy, it's about survival. It's about dignity. It's about the right to breathe without asking permission. But let it be known, the enemy is not just the obvious, the hate groups, the racial slurs, the overt discrimination. The enemy is also the apathy, the silence of allies, the neutrality of those who benefit from the very systems that break others. Racism adapts. It doesn't need hoods anymore. It wears suits. It passes laws. It smiles while denying justice. And in this landscape, healing becomes radical. Rest becomes revolutionary. Mental health becomes sacred. Black therapists are rising. Safe spaces are growing. The conversations once whispered are now held on stages and streamed live. Because trauma unspoken is trauma repeated, and this generation is choosing to heal out loud. And what of love? Black love remains the centerpiece, rooted in resistance, grown through generations. A love that raised children through broken homes and broken systems. A love that endured mass incarceration and gentrification. A love that held hands in hospital rooms and clasped fingers in courtrooms. A love that refuses to die, even when everything around it says it should. This isn't just about survival anymore. It's about power, about reclaiming the narrative, about holding the pen and writing our own stories, unfiltered, unedited, undeniable. The world has always tried to tell our story for us, distorted it, sanitized it, skipped over the shameful parts, rewrote the powerful ones, and buried the voices that dared to speak truth. But now, that pen is back in our hands. And we're not writing to ask permission anymore. We're writing because it's time the world listened. Storytelling is power, not just in books or movies, but in barbershops, in songs, in the quiet way a grandmother passes on a memory. In every corner of our communities, there are stories still untold, of resilience no one documented, of brilliance that never made the papers, of loss too painful to name. But they're there, and they matter, because truth is the foundation of change. They say history is written by the victors, but survival, that's written by the survivors. Every young Black boy told he'd never amount to anything, who turned that shame into drive. Every Black girl told she was too loud, too dark, too much, who grew into her power anyway. Every single person who dared to dream in a world built to keep them small. These are the real architects of change, not the politicians, not the billionaires, but the teachers who stayed late after school, the activists who kept showing up, the artists who painted freedom in colors too bold to ignore. And yet, for all this courage, we are still asked to prove our worth, still asked to explain our pain, still told to get over it, when it is stitched into the fabric of every system we touch. But the thing is, we never wanted to be exceptional. We wanted to be equal. Not to run twice as fast just to reach the starting line. Not to beg for dignity. Just to live. Fully. Freely. So now the question becomes, what will the next chapter hold? Because we are not victims of the past. We are the vision of the future. And this vision is bold. It's loud. It's unafraid. It builds businesses. It educates generations. It transforms trauma into testimony. It refuses to wait another 400 years for freedom. We're done waiting. The revolution may not always be televised, but it is happening in every vote cast, every book written, every protest chant, every meal shared between neighbors who become family. It's in the way we lift each other, even when we're tired. It's in the way we dance, even after the storm. It's in the way we still love, deeply and fiercely, even in a world that has tried to teach us otherwise. And so we say this. We are here. We have always been here. And we are not going anywhere. Like my video and subscribe my channel for more daily videos.